the street, now I'm bored. Finding myself as I'm walking alone and I'm grinding alone on the road. That's how you know you got old. I swear my mama be bold. She told me, my daughter, that life could be messy and sometimes you have to be cold. Ona unaribu masaa, kule unaenda ni far. Wewe my daughter ni star, wewe Vanessa ni star, wewe my daughter ni star.
You're now listening to the best.
Telling you wonderful stories of Galilee. Where you go, you are family. That's why my love could be silly. This is the kind to end happily. Ona unaribu masaa, kule unaenda ni far. Wewe my daughter ni star, wewe Vanessa ni star, wewe my daughter ni star. Don't you know the game is long? I wanna fight. Hold my hand and look me deep, it's gonna go right. Pretty faces watching you, don't lose sight. We might have found the light. Sasa mbona unaribu masaa, ule unaenda ni far. Wewe my daughter ni star, wewe Vanessa ni star, wewe my daughter ni star.
The Pan-African Wish Show with your host, none other than Jody. Angel Robinson all the way in Switzerland. Love, respect, and just.
Karibuni sana. Hope you guys are doing amazing today. Good afternoon, grand rising. Hope you guys are having a wonderful morning. Wishing you a beautiful day as you start your morning, rather your day. It's been a beautiful Wednesday right in the 254. It's sunny today. Yesterday it was super cold, but today we woke up to a beautiful weather. Early in the morning it was already sunny. By 6 already it was actually super sunny. But I hope and wishing you guys a beautiful day, and of course I hope the weather will be nice and fair to you as well. It's 21 minutes past 2 p.m. in the 254, and Karibuni as we talk about today's conversation. We're going to be focusing on how China has affected and destroyed Africa from industrializing, or rather industrial revolution. We're going to be looking at how, number one, we've been seeing many conversations going on from many different African countries, always arguing back and forth that China actually offered a better debt, better loans. They offer better loans with better interest and all that. But if you look at the real factor, or the real information about this, all a trap and a scam. There's no difference between China or the Chinese with the Europeans. These people are the same. When you talk about the World Bank and the IMF and the Chinese, the same people controlling the same system. Literally, there's nothing different. So we're going to be talking about that. The only thing we know that is so different when you talk about China, of course, is a country that has fully industrialized itself. And this is a conversation actually I'd say that came into my mind because of so many things we use in Kenya, so many stuff we use in the 254 other African countries, to be specific, Africa to be specific. Most of our products, most of our things, even including this microphone, if I literally look so well deeper somewhere, there's a made in China term somewhere. Literally, my phone, definitely it's coming from China, made in China. Exactly, made in China. So many things literally that serve us, or we use when you talk about laptops, when you talk about phones, so many things, including our utensils, so many things are coming from China. But why is that? Is what we're going to be focusing on. I have an interesting video I'm going to be talking about, of course, where we can see, and we're very well explained, how African leaders have ignored some of the key factors that actually they should learn from China, and how they can actually use their resources. Because we know Africa, number one, why so many things are expensive even despite us exporting them, and which are our raw products that have been actually importing them, which are raw products that have been exported to actually be brought back in some poor quality ash sheet and we buy them expensive is because we don't have industrial companies. We have not built companies to actually process or literally clean our very own raw resources or materials. And that's why we are depending on countries like China, which have actually again used our resources to industrialize themselves, and now they're selling us things that they steal from us. It's super crazy. So that is our conversation for today. And of course, I'll be sharing some videos coming from TikTok, people having different opinions about this conversation, how actually Chinese development is a conflict with African industrialization, because it is a very big problem. We think actually these people, again, with the terms they use, collaborating, cooperating, they're actually good terms. They're not good terms. When you look deeper into these terms, these are terms that are keeping us in a debt crisis and in a slave crisis and in a trap to never develop. In a trap, number one, to never develop. We have countries that are actually, I'd say, eating off us, and they know very well that what they're doing. These people are eating off us. They're literally using us to benefit themselves as we continue begging, suffering, cooperating, collaborating, as we give away what actually we can use to build our very own self. So that is what we're going to focus on today as the major conversation. But as we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about DRC Congo, how actually DRC has had the law on the books since 2018. And of course, this is about actually where the people should benefit from their own resources. It's crazy because this is not a new term, according to me. This week on Monday, we talked about and shared a documentary from Kenya, as we saw the exploitation of resources again from the Chinese again. It's crazy. And still the same people are everywhere in this continent. When we're talking about DRC Congo, we know that the Chinese companies or the Chinese people are the ones who are there in majority. We just confirmed in Kenya, we only have 3 known licensed mining companies. The rest are not known anywhere in the books. But do they exist? In plenty. And you can see them getting letters from the government, from the top government, from the top officials, who they don't mention the names, and now they're extracting our resources, and now the people are suffering the consequences of this. So we're going to be looking at how DRC wants Congolese workers to own part of their country's mines and is finally enforcing the law. So the law has been existing since 2018, but the question is what has actually changed. So that is what we're going to look at, and also looking at how Nigeria's president Tinubu has increased the soldiers' pay. He has increased the soldiers' wage to 80%. The question is, because if you listen to the bullshit of why he increased this, it's not even making sense. And even to you who is the listener, even without you being told, we know the crisis in Nigeria. What do the Nigerian soldiers do to maintain peace without the UN? As a matter of fact, the Nigerian soldiers don't do anything. The UN, America, and the rest, they have their foot there to ensure that there's never going to be peace. They're the ones actually destabilizing, ensuring there's not going to be peace. So what are we talking about? We're going to be looking at that as well. Much more conversations still coming also from DRC Congo. We're going to look at also how we have the Africa Center Control of Diseases, which is talking about Ebola outbreak again. And I'll just talk a little bit about the Africa Control Center of Diseases. I'm not even focusing on Ebola crisis at all, because already seeing this are actually, as much as Ebola does exist, it's not the way it's actually quoted or exaggerated in numbers. It's there, don't get me wrong. It's like me saying we never had jiggers. We had jiggers, they were existing, and still surprises me you guys didn't know jiggers. It's crazy, it's crazy, because that is one of the things that white people used so much to come to Africa for, when now understanding it, they use that as a way to get to us so easily. And VSCCI and us things that we don't even know what we're taking. So we're going to focus on that about Africa Center Control of Diseases, because it's a conversation that I had some time back in 2023, if I remember correctly. And I love the topic itself because it made me understand from there how we have these fake organizations that are set in Africa and they no longer even do what they're supposed to be doing. We're going to also talk about the U.S. senators, where we have the U.S. senators who are pressing Trump administration to act on Sudan. We know this is about resources, much more conversation coming also from Zimbabwe. As you can see, something to do with justice. We're going to be looking at this conversation. I didn't do so much research about it, but if time is going to allow me, I'll cue some tabs as we talk about it. But karibuni again, family. Good morning one more time. My name is Joby, 29 minutes past the top of the hour. And in case you're here for the first time, karibu sana, kindly subscribe on our YouTube channel, whichever you're streaming live from. In case you're catching me live from the radio station, hello to you too. Spreaker, Spotify, for our BitChute family as well. Hope you guys are doing great. Kindly remember you can get our app on the Google Play Store in case you have never gotten the chance to download our app. If you find time, kindly ensure you do. You have conversations that you can actually, again, catch up with, or other shows you can catch up with. Not just my show. We have different amazing conversations. You can catch up with Shumani every morning from Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 12 midday, our time, as she plays you amazing music back to back and great conversations. I have my show literally every Monday to Friday as well. From this particular time, sometimes I'm earlier, but this is always sometimes my time. But lately I've been a little bit early. Today this week I've been a little bit late. Not really that late, but this week I've been a little bit late. Just handling some few things here and there, which is making me not catch up on time, but still better late than never. But yes, just ensure you have the app, tafadhali, so that in case or whatever time I have my show, you can listen to me via the radio station. If not possible, catch me up on Amazon or Roku TV. We are up and available. Just ensure you have it on your TV, and you'll be able to catch up with the shows during the weekend on the TV segment, because you have the TV segment and the radio part. So ensure you switch correctly so you can be able to catch up with our shows. But we also have an apparel store, which you can be able to check our amazing merchandise. We have different t-shirts in different colors and sizes, hoodies, beanies, mugs, handbags, bags, everything literally. Just ensure you go there and check what you'd like. You can also gift a friend. It doesn't have to be for you. Gift a friend, gift your wife, gift your side chick, gift your lover, gift whoever you like. And also stay healthy. That is the most important thing. We also have some supplements you can grab under the app. Again, just after the apparel store, you can grab yourself some amazing supplements, including vitamins, proteins, and skincare products that will boost your health in different ways in case you've been looking for this kind of products. We're talking about ashwagandha, sea moss, turmeric, gummy bears. We have skincare products like shea butter, aloe cucumber soap, vitamins like multivitamin, and so much more. So in case you've been looking for all these products among I've mentioned, ensure you go grab yourself one and stay healthy. But for this conversation, we say brain and focus is very important. For you to focus on these conversations, you need critical thinking. And since it's not taught, or some people are not born with it, kindly ensure you take some brain and
Unlock your
focus
full
to
potential
stay
with
focused.
Brain and Focus, a powerful supplement designed to boost mental clarity, enhance memory, and sharpen concentration. Made from a blend of scientifically proven ingredients like ginkgo biloba, omega-3, and essential vitamins, Brain and Focus is crafted to fuel your mind. Our process ensures maximum potency and effectiveness, delivering the perfect balance of brain-boosting nutrients. Take just one capsule daily, as prescribed by your healthcare provider, and feel the difference. Whether it's powering through your workday or staying sharp in life's challenges, Brain and Focus keeps you at the top of your game. Stay sharp, stay focused, and stay ahead with Brain and Focus. Brain and Focus, fuel your mind, achieve more. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.
Affordable price. As we get started with today's conversation, we put our focus into DRC Congo and similarities. Again, it's a copy and paste when you talk about the stories of resources in Africa. It's the same story from Congo to Kenya to Tanzania. We've not seen, of course, so much happening, but of course, during the beginning of Samia Suluhu's presidency, she had already invited the international community to come and see what's on the ground and what they can offer. And just a few months later after that, we had some Tanzanians complaining about poaching of even animals like crocodiles, and even to the point where now where the white people who are actually poaching these crocodiles and carrying them with them, when they were being questioned, like, have you been authorized to do this? They're like, yeah, your government has allowed us to do this. And that shows you a lot, actually, even with what is happening in Kenya, because apparently we have some news and information about pesticide poisoning, which is actually, they're claiming that is the reason why we had over 15 elephants dying. But we know the history of poaching in Africa. It's nothing new, but we're going to talk about that also in a lighter note. Yes, but I'm saying it's a matter of, it's literally a copy and paste story when you talk about mining from Kenya, DRC Congo, Uganda. Go to Rwanda. Bill Gates is already there. I don't know what's in Rwanda to be mined or exploited. The people already are exploited. Don't get it wrong. They can barely talk about anything that happens in that country. So it is so hard for even us to understand actually majority of the things that happen in Congo. But yes, go all the way to West Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, at least 3 countries have walked away from this exploitation, and kicking away people who are exploiting them. But still, is there a war that is happening in ways on how these people are trying to get back access of these resources? Yes, very much active. It's a copy and paste. If you remember Monday's conversation, I'll take you back a little bit again. On Monday, in case you didn't see it, kindly, again, this is the time for you to download the app. And through the app, you'll be taken to all our streaming platforms where I majorly air these shows on YouTube and BitChute. So in case you don't find them on YouTube, you can always find them on BitChute, where you can catch up with them and see what we've been talking about throughout the week and stay updated about the news in Africa and get facts. Don't be misinformed, because there's so much misinformation about the continent and about us as Africans, especially globally. But yes, on Monday, I talked about and shared a documentary from the western parts of Kenya that is coming from River Yala, where my grandma, I'd say, to be specific, where my grandma lives. I've been talking about the history of Yala mining, I think, since I joined Blackout Fire, because the first time I also went there, it was quite a shock. And me seeing gold actually for the first time. So that's why it was actually also such an amusement to me, because I was seeing gold for the first time. I just didn't know now the information I have at large, and, which makes sense, because we're not taught that, of course, in school for us to understand what we're dealing with, right? On Monday, I shared that documentary which showed you the Chinese people are heavily exploiting that river. And they are exploiting to the point where they have gotten now to the shops of people. You see, this is the problem with Africans. Why do we have a crusade at 1 p.m., at 2 p.m.? Why do we have a goddamn crusade right now? We're busy praying while our country is busy being looted. I can't believe this. Imagine there's a crusade outside. And let me tell you, it is so sunny. It is so sunny today. The sun is not playing today. Who would even go stand there, start singing some gospel songs? Anyway, I'm just wondering, by the way, Africans were so damaged, like with religion. Why right now? Oh my God, that's the problem. This is the problem why we're being looted. We're busy focusing on religion, while the wealth is being taken away from us, busy praying for bullshit. It's crazy. Yes, so it's crazy. Just, I'm sorry, my mind was, I'm really phased, being honest, because what the hell is that? I passed there. I thought it was a joke. They were setting up the speakers and all that. I'm like, man, these fuckers are not about to start a crusade right now. Maybe till later on in the evening. But no, I was wrong. They're actually starting right now. It's crazy. But anyway, yeah. So looking at what was happening, of course, in Kenya, it's been happening for so long. It's not just actually River Yala. If you look at the so-called illegal mining, in quotes, there's so many in Africa. So many. And they're not illegal. These things have been approved. It's only illegal when the people, now what we're about to talk about, the only time the government terms this illegal is when actually this part of the mines is supposed to be yours. Because now, as we can see, the DRC wants Congolese workers to own part of their country's mines. When the people try to own parts of their country's mines, this is always considered illegal mining. So what is going to be so different from what we've been seeing so far over the years and Africans experiencing that is going to be so different after these laws and understanding? Because just take you back, right? Let me just check this very quickly. When did DRC Congo approve ownership of mines by the people? Let's take a look at this very quick. So according to Google, the Democratic Republic of Congo does not grant subsurface mine ownership to the people. All underground mines belong exclusively to the state. However, the DRC approved a law on March 9, 2018, 2018, requiring commercial mining companies to transfer 10% equity to Congolese nationals, whereby 5% for local employees and 5% for other citizens, with enforcement finalized in July 2026. So this was this past month we're talking about. So from 2018, the approval of just 10% equity is being approved in 2026 July. Are we even joking? Are we joking? Does that even sound something serious to you? It had to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2018, 2019, 2020. Oh my God. It had to take you over almost 8 years for you to say yes. Actually, 10 years. Almost 10 years. Almost 10 years for them to approve the people to benefit off their resources. Now, going back to, because if you go back, I bet if we Google this same information, you'll find that most of the African countries, that is the same thing, that the resources, all underground minerals belong exclusively to the state. So if all underground minerals exclusively belong to the state, why do we have Chinese mining companies or all these British, whatever, the people who colonized us owning big portions of these mining companies or mines? Why, if so, why don't we see these resources or these minerals benefiting the people to improve and boost the economy of the country, like we've seen in Niger? No, that was Mali yesterday, which has generated $883 million from their resources. You've seen in Burkina Faso, since 2022, they have generated million or billion dollars. And in just a span of 6 to 7 months since the beginning of this year, making an income of $6 billion. Just because, number one, there is no any international community or foreigners there to extract resources. These resources are remaining in the country, being refined in the country, and benefiting the country. Okay? It's not what we've seen with Ruto inviting Trump and the rest. It's not what we've seen with other countries signing years of deals to extract resources, not thinking about the consequences or long-term consequences effect of this. So again, going back to this, the Democratic Republic of Congo does not grant subsurface mine ownership to the people. All underground minerals belong exclusively to the state. However, DRC Congo approved a law on March 9th, 2018, requiring commercial mining companies to transfer 10% equity to the Congolese. And till to date, we've not seen that equity. But let's take a look at this. Let's listen.
The Democratic Republic of Congo is telling mining companies that Congolese people must actually own more of the companies that are extracting the country's copper and cobalt. These rules do date back to the 2018 mining code. 10% of mining company shares must be held by Congolese nationals, including 5% for Congolese employees, right? But the companies have been taking way too long to implement. So in January, the government gave the mining companies until the 31st of July, so just gone, to prove that they had complied. And honestly, I do actually think that this is a fantastic first step. The people that are risking their lives to produce this wealth should actually have the opportunity to own part of it and share meaningfully in the wealth and value that they actually help to create. But I do actually think that the government also needs to publish who's going to receive the shares, how they're valued.
Of course, bet the 10% is going to be still controlled by some cartels. Of course, it's not going to fully go to the people. I'm so sure. Africa corruption is so deep. Man, Africa corruption is so deep. Let me tell you, Africa corruption is so deep. Man, you know, we only talk about it. You guys should come here and experience it. Maybe someone like Keith has experienced that in the bits, smallest ways, and seen it in many different ways, you know. But Africa corruption is so deep. These people will do anything to ensure the people don't benefit. There's just always someone somewhere. Yes, this is going to be given. Of course, the approval is going to be given. Definitely, there's a governor or an official, either a member of parliament or someone who has been assigned to follow this up. But bet it might not go straight to the people. That 10% is still going to be taken away from the people. And then, like I said, they do this because if this was actually something that was signed into law in 2018, how many times do we hear the term illegal miners? Now that's why we question, who are the really illegal miners? If the law allows equity of 10%, which is very small, very, very small, very, very small, it should be actually even a 50. Let's do 50-50. Why can't we do that? Why does it have to be 10-90? Where is this 90 going to? Who is benefiting off this other 90? Because bet it's not the country and it's not the people as well. And even with the 10%, they're not educated enough to know what they're dealing with. So again, it still goes back to the same people who know the worth of these resources. They pay these people $2, $1, or pay you none and put a gun on your goddamn face and tell you you're not going to do anything about it. You're not going to do anything about it. That is my level of understanding, literally. Because we've seen these patterns. We've seen these patterns so many times. Why 10%? 10% is not enough. And still with the 10%, it's going to be taken away, bet sure of that, understanding Africa corruption. And then we have something called nepotism. If it's not the direct official, they'll put their sons there, their daughter, their cousin, their nephew, their niece. Someone is in charge. Someone is in charge. So again, we go back to where is the 90% going? Who does it benefit? Of course, it's not DRC Congo. So this is all bollocks. This is all bollocks.
And I guess what rights they carry and how dividends will be paid, so that the policy genuinely benefits workers rather than becoming some piece of nepotism that politically
it will become it will become nepotism. I'm telling you. it will become that. So this is how you see how this system does not really work. Now, I asked Google the same question, but now with Kenya. When did Kenya approve ownership of mines to the people? Hypothetically, I didn't even know actually we had an approval of our mines to the people, you know, or ownership of mines by the people, you know. So Kenya established that all minerals belong to the people in August 2010, sorry. August 2010. This is 16 years ago. 16 years ago. Via the constitution, of course, shout to Mwai Kibaki, Mwai Kibaki, I tell you, whether people want to see it or not, Mwai Kibaki was smart. Mwai Kibaki was a puppet, had to do, of course, his job is big, but Mwai Kibaki was somehow smart, knew what he was doing. He did so many things indirectly to benefit the people. But did we really benefit? Let's look at it. Kenya established that all minerals belong to the people in August 2010 via the constitution, and operationalized this public trustship when President Uhuru Kenyatta signed the Mining Act 2016 into law May 27, 2016. Under this framework, mineral resources are vested into the national government in trust for all Kenyan citizens rather than private land owners. Forward 2026. How have we benefited? Where have Kenyans benefited of their resources? Nowhere. We just saw again on Monday how people, they're having their lands being dug, destroyed by some invaders just because they want to extract all the gold in Kakamega County. The people of that county, and of course with the media also following up, going even straight to the government because the people cannot, since the media can access these people, ask them a few questions. We saw, you guys saw, they said we're following up, or this is new to us, we don't know, or they must be licensed, or So how comes this is not termed illegal mining? Because according to the investigations, we saw the investigations went on till the end of July this year. And the media that was doing investigations went back there and they found the same Chinese, they're still operating in that region. Despite our top officials saying, we're going to follow up or we'll ensure, bullshit. So yes, with the corruption we have in this country, continent, let me be specific, with the amount of corruption we have in this continent, and so long as we have the white system ruling us, and the white system which has appointed this type of puppets into power, forget about your resources, my friend. Come out here, please.
Connected individuals are the only people that benefit. Companies have warned that unclear or inconsistent implementation could actually discourage investment. And I'm not going to lie, it is a legitimate concern, right? The DRC does not have to choose, however, between attracting investment and ensuring its people benefit. It should actually be able to do both.
And first, it should be able to ensure the people benefit, which is never a priority in the whole continent. Again, only for their life. We removed 3 countries right now. I'm very careful when I talk about the continent right now, because we have 3 countries that are at least working. 3 that are at least working. Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. Only. The rest, there's no leader, no president who has ensured the resources benefit the people. Nowhere. So many people have been celebrating, Aliko Dangote, oh, East Africa. Follow up this shit and understand it very well. And years to come, you guys, we're going to revisit this conversation. Years to come, we'll revisit this conversation. We will see how East Africa is going to benefit off this refinery oil company that is going to be built here. Already we have private share, of course, fine. But I still have a problem. I feel like being too smart, I'm not too dumb to just turn a blind eye, or, the white people have good, okay, cool. Good interest for real. But not my focus for today. But yes, it's not going to benefit the people. DRC, of course, it's always, it's crazy. Again, this is how we understand media is such there's an article I was reading today, which was very interesting. Let me see, I think I had it here somewhere in my tab. It was quoting the leaders, how the leaders act when it comes to us as citizens, how they treat us, how they treat us. So it was saying the type of president we don't want is the one who can't read the room. That is number 1. The one who makes a mess, then hires the camera for cleanup. That is Africa today. African presidents make a mess, then they hire the media, of course, which is again a white system, how it has been created, a white supremacy system, or the system how it's been designed. Because this is the copy and paste again globally. It's not even anything to do with Africa. These people damage the countries, and then they hire the media to clean their own mess. How is the media helping? The media is there to add more propaganda. More propaganda, so that we won't see the mess and we won't call out the mess. Crazy.
The answer's definitely not to abandon local ownership. I think it's just that they need to make their rules clear, transparent, and predictable so that any responsible investors know exactly what's going to be expected of.
Exactly.
I'd also be looking at how many Congolese companies enter the supply chain and how many skilled jobs are actually created.
Yep.
Employee ownership is excellent, but if the major mines are still operated by foreign companies 20 years from now, the DRC still will not have built its own globally competitive mining industry. This moment right now should also be used to grow Congolese engineering firms, also logistics companies, equipment suppliers, geologists, financiers, and mining entrepreneurs, right? Because the goal shouldn't be to make foreign companies smaller. The goal should actually just to be making African companies bigger. I think that we should actually be asking whether the next Glencore or Rio Tinto could actually be African, and making sure that the people risking their lives alongside the communities living with the environmental and social consequences of these mines are actually getting the opportunity to share meaningfully in the wealth that is created there. And that must remain paramount. Anyway, love you guys. Make sure you.
Yeah, so that is what is happening in DRC Congo. But for me, I think so long as we have the big balloon stomach, Felix Kebi, nothing is gonna happen. So long as we have this balloon stomach Negroes, nothing is gonna happen. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing. Looking at the comment section under this conversation, someone says, I think the decision needs more clarity. Like, how do the people that get what, I think what he meant is, I think the decision needs more clarity. Like, how do the people get this? That is, I think, what he meant. Exactly. There's no clarity, no transparency how this decision is being made. Because if the law was introduced or signed since 2018, it's 2026, being approved in 2026, it's crazy. Literally approved in 2018 and then finalized in 2026. It's crazy. That is so crazy. Crazy work. Crazy. Someone also says local people and companies should have fast dibs to jump on the opportunity to keep profit local. You cannot progress if you are always outsourcing. It can be done just at a more difficult route ultimately. And then the last I'm going to read of this says we should put pressure on even if it's just sharing videos like this at a minimum, so that Congolese can get their fare and shares for real. It's not going to happen. I'm so sorry. It's really not going to happen. I hate to be the one to break the news, but it's not going to happen. Not so long as we have the same balloon Negroes. It's not gonna happen. Sorry, it's not going to happen. And this is why it's not going to happen, because they have this kind of bullshit happening in the country. Fake numbers of outbreaks. Like I said, don't quote me wrong. Ebola is there. It's not like it doesn't exist, but with the exaggeration of numbers, again, copy and paste of their agendas, which they need to change the tactics because they're too obvious nowadays. Too obvious. People know what you're doing. People know the things you're doing and what they are for. Kenya, we had already known the moment you brought this bullshit, and it was very well connected. The dots were very connected very quickly, and the people demonstrated and some were shot. It's because of the resources. It's nothing to do with why Kenya? Why Kenya? Why just Africa? Why not take these people somewhere again, like I asked in Wyoming, somewhere in the bush there? Why can't you choose Wyoming bushes there and put a quarantine? Why not take these people somewhere in Bangladesh or China? I don't know. Take these people to India, where there's so many congested people, to reduce the numbers maybe, so that India can become clean a little bit. I don't know. Shit. Why Africa? The resources. So still on DRC Congo, we have the Africa Center Control of Diseases, which has sounded an alarm as, of course, because of the DRC Congo Ebola crisis. And I'm not going to talk about the Ebola specifically, but I need Africans to understand this Africa Control of Diseases. Again, this is the time where we question, which the headquarters is in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. I talked about this conversation again in 2023, a whole topic. And we checked how this organization is not helping Africa in any sort of way. They're here to benefit themselves. These are the people actually who approve the supply, I believe, of vaccinations in most of these countries in this continent. The Africa Control of Disease is not helping. Get that. It's not here to help you. Just because they use the term Africa or put Africa first, it doesn't mean it represents you or they care about you. It's nothing to do with you. It's something to kill you. Damn. It's crazy.
The head of the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has warned that the Democratic Republic of Congo's Ebola outbreak is accelerating, with more than 3,800 confirmed cases and over 1,700 deaths. Visiting the epicenter in Bunia, officials said the response must change urgently.
Look, I will not be diplomatic on that. Contact tracing is not working. When you have more than 60-70% of new cases coming out of the contact list, we cannot say it's working. We need to be innovative on the way to approach the contact list. I will discuss with the incident manager to know what we need to do.
Health officials say the outbreak linked to the Bundibugyo strain of Ebola has become the fastest growing on record. The virus has spread across 6 provinces, while ongoing conflict, population displacement, and illegal mining continue to hamper efforts to trace infections.
Well, if you believe it's about infections, I wish you all the best. That's all I must say. If you really believe this is about Ebola, and then 10% being approved, now they're going to take that away. Like, hell no. We need 100% of all this shit. Kill these people. Put a fake Ebola crisis so that they can run away. And understanding, of course, Africans, we have so much fear, we have so much fear than white people. There's this guy, he's a Ugandan, but he lives in Kenya. His name is Yaga. He's such a funny comedian. He was asking, there's an African American who was asking, why don't we see videos of Africans from the continent or Africans in general, doing all those high jumps from one building to another? You see, there's these videos of maybe Chinese people or whatever, doing some videos jumping from one building to another like a Spider-Man shit. So the Ugandan guy who lives in Kenya was like, if you are an African, you need to understand. Of course, he was putting some jokes about it, about our villagers, but he's like, Africans, we are scared of so many things, we're so scared of so many things. No one is gonna do that. Understand, you're not a cat, you don't have 9 lives, So the same thing. Africans, they've understood our fear. So them exaggerating these numbers and all that, they know so many people are gonna run away for their lives. Already in a country where there's war and then add diseases, you want me to stay there? And I can go to Kenya by foot. I can go to Tanzania by foot. I can go to Uganda by foot. Shit. So fear tactics is what they're using upon us to keep us away from our lands, to keep us in fear so that we don't fight for our resources. That's what it is all about. Ebola is there, yes, but not the exaggerated way, the way they are exaggerating. But as we continue, we have more information coming from Nigeria. It's crazy how we see these salary increases always happening when there's nothing being delivered. Shout out to Ibrahim Traore. Ibrahim Traore, we saw him leading by example, reducing not only the salary of many officials, but even him saying he's going to maintain his own salary, and delivering. The funny part, it's not like him maintaining his salary the way it is, and him being a president who is delivering, he should actually be added salary right now, you know, and there should be a salary increase type of talk going on. He's not even focusing on that, but he's delivering. He is delivering. Roads, schools, hospitals, lights, things are working in Burkina Faso. But in a country where there's terrorism, and in a country where they are full of, the president is always ready to stand on media, you know, again, like you see this quote is saying, the one who makes a mess, they hire the camera for the cleanup. That's what they do. Nigeria, the president is the number 1 criticizer of how the Alliance Sahel state is working. Oh, there's terrorism there. You know, they need to come back to ECOWAS. Oh, you know, they're actually making terrorism to increase in our country because they're now kicking us out and kicking the international community out. So, you know, you don't want us to work with the white dads. You're gonna make me lose my work, oh, you know, you're gonna make me lose my work, oh, as the chairperson of ECOWAS. You Negroes need to come back to you need to come back to ECOWAS. Are you kidding me? To do what? How has ECOWAS helped Nigeria so far? From Boko Haram, you know, to now they're being called the ISIS. Huh? How has ECOWAS helped reduce the number of kidnappings happening in Nigeria? How has ECOWAS helped reduce the number of terrorism in the country? Okay, leave alone ECOWAS. Now the soldiers who have been added the salary. What are Nigerian soldiers doing? I've not seen any rescue. I've not seen any operation being done on a serious note. Them capturing any type of terrorists in their borders or anywhere they claim they are, west, north, east, south, whatever. Where? But they are getting salary increase. This is crazy.
Nigerian President Bola Tinubu has approved salary increases of between 30 and 80% for members of the country's armed forces as the government seeks to boost troop morale amid ongoing battles against insurgency, banditry, and kidnappings. The new pay structure takes effect on September 1st and will benefit about 250,000 military personnel. Soldiers from the rank of private to staff sergeant will receive the largest increase of 80%, while personnel from warrant officer to colonel will get a 50% rise. Officers above the rank of colonel, including...
Now, remember something I told you on Monday, saying that the only people that matter in Africa politics is the president and security? Yeah. Copy and paste again. Look at Museveni. Okay, let me start in my very own home. Kenya, we had our general, our Kenya Defense Force general, who was working under Uhuru Kenyatta. I think under Uhuru Kenyatta, I'm not really sure, but this man died under unknown circumstances. And this is when there were some whispers. What if, you know, we had at least now this time a successful coup. Not the one that was done for 6 hours during Moi's time. This time, there were whispers. After the 2024 demonstration, there were whispers. And then, after a few days of the whispers, and Kenyans also saying, what if we just have a coup? You know, because we're tired of Ruto. Still tired. Not we were, but we're still tired. Oh, the general died on a chopper under unknown circumstances. Okay, then a few months later, of course, a new general was appointed. After that, I think reshuffled. There's been many reshuffles. There's been reshuffles. Reshuffling of these people who are in charge of security. Go to Uganda. Museveni. He has appointed who as the general? Oh, the son. The son. Go back to Rwanda. Just recently, we talked about this, I think, last year. Recently, too. It's not even far. Kagame did the same. Kagame did the same. Reshuffling. And on and on and on and on and on. Of even so many countries we've not seen reports of, but it's happening. The most important figures in these countries so that they can maintain their fake power is the president and the security. The vice president does not even have a say, let me tell you. This is why you see Diomaye Faye fired Osman Sonko as the vice president, because you don't need a vice president who's checking on you. You need a vice president who is a yes boss, saying yes to everything that you've been told by the white daddy to say yes to. So you don't need someone who's challenging you on the seat. And if they can't challenge you, they keep quiet. A good example, in Kenya today, our current vice president, who was appointed after the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua, who was the first vice president, of course, under Ruto's government. Right now, there's possibilities of him losing or not coming back as a vice president, even if Ruto wins. Why? Because number one, he's not a yes boss person. He's actually saying yes to everything Ruto is doing and supporting Ruto. But number one, he doesn't have the numbers. He has a soprano. People mock him because he has a soprano. He's not a man enough to talk to us. What else? He's incompetent. There's nothing he has to say that actually even we can approve. I don't know how to put it. He's just a yes boss person. He's just, it's like our vice president of Kenya today looks like a child who is told to just do everything and go say what they have been, recite some things and go say them in front of the people. That's all. So I think Ruto is getting bored of him and they're looking for someone who can replace him in today's politics of Kenya. So yes, in Africa, the only people that matter, the figures that matter politically, is security and the president.
Generals will receive
the rest should just say yes.
30% increase. The salary review will raise the military's annual wage bill from about $485 million to nearly $679 million. President Tinubu said the move recognizes the sacrifices of troops and reaffirmed his administration's commitment to improving welfare and modernizing the armed forces as Nigeria continues to confront Boko Haram, ISWAP, and armed bandits and other security threats.
Lies, and lies. Okay, so this is happening. Why? Understand, Nigeria is a few months away from election. It's not that far. It is not that far. Nigeria is supposed to be having its election on January 16th, 2027. Nigerians are tired now. The young people are tired globally. I mean, in Africa, the continent to be specific, the young people are tired. And the spirit of Kenyans is waving towards other Africans. It's not just Kenya where the people are fighting for their government. No, people are tired. People are tired. You're not come talk smack on my face because you're a senator. We'll ensure you go home. Flex when you have power right now. We'll ensure you go home. And when you go home, we find you in your village or in your home, and we shall beat you up because you'll now be having guards there. And how many bullets can you have? How many can you have? 6, maybe kill 6, 8, 10. What's the population of Nigeria again? Yeah, people are tired. And unless maybe I'm defending them and they are not, they need to speak for themselves. As a matter of fact, they could be some South Africans. They're okay with oppression. They're okay and comfortable with, corruption. I don't know, but I know for Kenya we're tired. So should they. Because this is the internal security being bought. It is being bought. So that no matter what you do come next year, the results of election, nobody is going to defend you. They're going to be against you. Now, I understand the military of Nigeria, if it's the same as Kenya, where we know the Kenya Defense Forces, they're not supposed to touch us. They defend us. They protect us, no matter what happens. Okay? But in the recent cases, we've seen, yeah, they know how to talk. I'd say these are the most mature type of, security forces we have. I'd say a bit mature, not like the other small ones we have, from police station, No, the Kenya Defense Forces are supposed to be protecting us. So now that they've also been bought the same way, all this salary increment, that is how it happens. Salary increment, reshuffling of the generals and all that. I'm not sure come next year if we're also safe with the Kenya Defense Force, or they're going to turn against us. Because 2024, so many of their uniforms were seen as one among the people who are killing the citizens who are peacefully demonstrating about the taxes, about the economy in this country, about corruption, about bad governance. So we're not sure. I'm not going to trust our Kenya Defense Force so much too. Again, copy and paste. Nigeria has election next year, so this is not a coincidence. If you think this is all that, what are they doing? What have the Nigerian soldiers done to improve security in that country? Nothing. Nothing. Completely nothing. It's crazy. It is crazy. But as we get into our main conversation, we also have, of course, the U.S. senators who are pressing Donald Trump administration to act for Sudan. They're saying that nearly 24 U.S. senators are urging the State Department to use its leverage to help bring the war in Sudan to an end. In letter, the lawmakers stressed that the immediate need for action in light of the impending siege of the El Obeid following the mass atrocities that occurred in El Fasher last year. They're saying, and I quote, while we welcome the State Department expression of concerns about escalating situation in El Obeid, words are not enough. The letter said, urging that the U.S. government is to use the influence at our disposal, in quotes, to prevent further atrocities. The senators also urged the State Department to halt certain U.S. arms sales to external actors such as United Arab Emirates, which continues to arm the Rapid Support Forces, as if it's not involved. As if America is not involved in this. As if. Why can't you just leave Africa alone? Why can't you just let us handle our own matters? Again, resources. Resources. Hey, we have suffered. Hey, Africans have suffered. From slavery, to mental slavery, to wars, and non-stop wars, exploitation, and more and more. Hey, we have suffered. Hey, when will it be white people's turn to suffer? It has to be our decision, by the way. You know that? It is up to us to actually decide when it is white people's time to suffer. Do you know that, actually? And sadly, as a continent, because yes, Black Americans do not hold that large of a number. Since these people benefit off us so much, if we really had good leaders like an Ibrahim Traore, it would be our time to decide white people now suffer. Do you know how amazing it would be? It would be so amazing. And of course, we can't do this just blankly, stupidly. We have no weapons. We have no strong militaries. We have these ones being bought and paid. We can't do that with this type of bullshit. We need weapons. We need military. We need men, not gay-ass men with wigs and nails like me on and makeup and lashes and lip glosses. Those are not men. We can't do a war like that. We can't. We have so much we have so much to change as a continent too. And then from there, if we decide we want to change for us as a people, it's time for us to live in heaven because it's here. We make the white people suffer. And we make strict rules. These people cannot just pop in and come out like this is a toilet. You can't just come in and pop out. Man, you can't. You can't. You can just pop in and out like it's a toilet. As a matter of fact, you're not welcome. What do you want here? Go back to where the resources are. You claim you have resources. You claim we are shitty. We have a shit hole. Like, go back to your luxury Oh, there's no luxury without Africa. No more diamonds, no more gold, no more. You can't flex. No more diamonds, no more gold, no more silver, no more nothing. Oh, you can't flex your fake life because these people live a fake life. These people live a fake life. They live a life that they have borrowed. Not even borrowed, but stolen. A stolen lifestyle. A stolen lifestyle. Because we were rich. We were living in empires. We were wearing gold like it's nothing. Silver like it was nothing. It's crazy how today silver is so expensive. I can't even afford a silver chain today. I grew up in high school. If I show you guys my high school photo, I used to wear silver chains like crazy. I used to have them bling blings for real, you guys. Like for real. I used to have like 6 to 5. I'd say mostly 5. I've done 5. No, me exaggerate. 5. I used to have like 5 chains on. A big one, a heavy one, like this chain I'm wearing. Then the small ones, they follow different patterns. Then I have them, you know, rings on, all silver as well. Not this fake ass shit I'm wearing today. Yeah. But today I can't afford the silver chain. And mind you, I was jobless at that time. I was at school. My pocket money could be enough to save to get a silver chain. Today I'm working and paid. But I can't still afford a silver chain. Will I take a silver chain or go buy ugali flour? Yeah, it's crazy. This is so crazy. Well, let's talk about now our main conversation, because looking at all those conversations we've had, something is common. And development. You know, there's no development in these countries we've talked about, from DRC, Nigeria, talk about Kenya, Uganda, Ghana, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, and so on and so on. There's no development. When we talk about development of roads, they're shitty, very shitty. Exporting wealth and your roads are still shitty is crazy. It is so crazy. It is so crazy, I'm telling you. Exporting your wealth and your roads are so pathetic. It's crazy. It's crazy. I wish these people just even gave us roads, but of course it's not their work. Their work is to collaborate and cooperate, and you figure out how you're gonna collaborate from that. If you wanna continue being corrupt, keep pocket all the money, or you want to industrialize. Today we're gonna be talking about how China has affected and destroyed Africa's industrial revolution. Of course, looking at all those countries we've mentioned, and when we mention resources, they're Chinese companies, Chinese farms, Chinese whatevers, all of them. They're there extracting our wealth for their own benefit. We've looked at the history of China a couple of times, how just a few years back they were poor, riding bicycles. But today, these are countries that are actually exporting cars to other countries, exporting utensils to other countries. You know, it's crazy. Exporting phones, laptops made in their goddamn country off the resources of Africa. People have been paid $2 as they make millions off your back again. It's crazy. This shit has been taken from your ground at zero cost. You've been paying $2, and then all the billions of this product, whether it's cobalt, gold, or whatever, uranium, whatever, taken all the way to China because these people are smart enough, like we are not, huh? They have ensured they have built industrial companies, manufacturing companies, processing companies, refining companies. They have all the types of shit. And then they import this shit that worked from your country at zero cost of you knowing. And then you come buy the same gadget of something that came from your soil. Huh? You can't buy the same gadgets. What you should have been paid. It's crazy, actually. You know, you can't buy the same gadget maybe the amount actually you should have been paid for what you gave away. Imagine. Just imagine that. So on today's history, we're going to look at how China has been quietly bankrupting Africa. Because again, we've seen so many countries. Recently, we had, I think, Sudan. Yeah. We had Sudan, which had been set debt-free by China. We saw that happening also, I think, to a few countries have done that, which they have had their debts eased by China by removing a certain percentage of the debt. And I've always questioned, at what costs? What is the cost of them easing these debts for you? Because when they came to you and offered you debts, already so much has been taken away from you because you can't pay these debts. I believe probably a country like Ghana today, I'm yet to understand why they're learning Mandarin. I'm using Mandarin or whatever. The Chinese language which has been introduced in their curriculum. If you look up, well, probably this is something to do with, again, debts. Because why Chinese language? Kenya, we saw our NYS, the National Youth Services. They are being taught the same Chinese. Kate reported that 3 years ago. I don't know if it's still happening. We've seen in Zimbabwe, was it Zimbabwe? The Gazette, and this is because of debts. They were written in Chinese. How am I in Zimbabwe, but I'm supposed to be reading Chinese of what is happening in my country? Hey. So let's look at this. You are allowed to air your opinions as we continue.
When the Europeans colonized Africa, they came with guns and chains. When China came, they brought something far more sophisticated, loans. Over 100
and they tell you it's better, you know. That's the bullshit. They tell you China is a better option. Nope.
$70 billion in loans. And now 40% of African countries are either in debt distress or rapidly approaching it. This is not an accident. This is a strategy. And by the time most African nations realize what has happened, it may already be too late. Between 2000 and 2023,
it's already too late. It's already too late, I'd say.
Chinese financial institutions signed over 1,300 loan agreements with 49 African countries and 7 regional organizations. The total value exceeded $180 billion. This makes China Africa's largest bilateral lender by a massive margin, larger than the World Bank, larger than the African Development Bank, larger than all the Western commercial lenders combined. The money-funded railways, ports, highways, airports, power plants, and telecommunications,
which are all bullshit. Our railway, this bullshit slow-ass railways, the trains, these slow-ass trains.
Networks, projects that African nations desperately needed but could not afford on their own. Projects that Western institutions refused to fund without demanding painful political conditions. China offered something different, money with no strings attached, or so it seemed. Today, Angola owes China $25 billion, Ethiopia owes $13.5 billion, Zambia owes $7.4 billion, the Republic of Congo owes $7.3 billion.
Imagine.
Sudan owes $6.4 billion. Djibouti, a tiny nation of 1 million people, owes over half its external debt to Chinese institutions. And that is just the debt they admit to publicly.
Imagine.
Researchers
exactly. That is just the debt they admit publicly. Because the same thing I say about Kenya. Because, Ruto has borrowed, this is just what we know. We don't know what this idiot is doing behind our backs, what is not gazetted, what is not... What?
Estimate that half of Chinese loans to sub-Saharan Africa are not disclosed in sovereign debt records. The true numbers could be much higher. This is the story of how China quietly built a new empire in Africa, not through military force, not through political interference, but through something far more powerful, debt. The strategy began to take shape in the 1990s. As Western aid to Africa declined due to weakening economies and the Asian financial crisis, China saw an opportunity. African nations needed money. Western lenders demanded painful reforms and political changes. China offered an alternative, the loans that came without the lectures, without the demands for privatization, without the conditions that many African leaders saw as neo-colonial interference. The pitch was simple. China called it win-win cooperation. Africa gets infrastructure. China gets natural resources and market access.
Which is not a win-win. Understand that. It's not a win-win, because your natural resources, which are worth billions, are being extracted as you get poor-ass projects that are actually, they don't even exist in their own countries. But because, again, we've not been educated well to understand what we've even been given, we think, oh yeah, this is, oh my God, since we've never had, of course, since you've never had it, it's going to be something exciting to you. You know, it's going to be exciting. It's like someone coming to give you even an old phone. You don't understand this, an old phone and the problems it has already. You're like, oh my God, yes, I have a smartphone. Oh my God, I've never owned a smartphone. So yeah, the excitement catches you and you move on. And what is more valuable to you that makes you and gives you a new phone is gone.
Everyone benefits. And for a while, it looked like they might be right. China built roads where there were dirt tracks. They built ports where there were fishing villages. They connected African capitals to the global economy in ways that Western nations had talked about for decades but never delivered. But here is what China understood that African leaders either did not see or chose to ignore.
They ignore. They are ignorant. They are ignorant. And of course, controlled by the same people who they claim, oh, we've walked away from so that we can work with China. Same people.
Debt is power. The country that holds your debt holds leverage over your future.
Yep.
And China was accumulating leverage across an entire continent. The terms of Chinese loans are often more expensive than Western alternatives. While the IMF and World Bank charge relatively low interest rates, Chinese loans can carry rates of 6% or higher. Private Western lenders charge even more, sometimes 17%, which is why many African countries turned to China in the first place. But Chinese loans came with other conditions that would prove far more costly. Many Chinese loan contracts require that Chinese state-owned enterprises serve as primary contractors for the projects. This means the money flows back to China.
Exactly.
Chinese companies bring Chinese workers, Chinese materials, and Chinese equipment.
Exactly. That's how, where you call all the type of nigger words, they put a gun on your goddamn face and tell you, we're not going to pay you. Yeah.
The jobs that Africans expected do not materialize in the numbers promised.
Yep.
The technology transfer that was supposed to develop local industries never happens. And when the project is complete, African nations are left with infrastructure they cannot maintain without continued Chinese involvement.
Exactly. Poor structures or developments that will keep you again in the same cycle of going back to the same people because they understand maybe from the word go how they did this and how to correct this, according to my understanding. Yeah. So again, there's no difference. Same trap.
The contracts often include confidentiality clauses that prevent African governments from disclosing the terms to their own citizens. When Kenyan activists went to court demanding to see the contracts for the standard gauge railway, their government argued that releasing the documents would damage national security and foreign relations. The people paying the debt were not allowed to know what they owed. And then there are the collateral arrangements. In 2017, Sri Lanka could not repay its Chinese loans for the Hambantota port. The government was forced to hand the port to China on a 99-year lease.
Exactly. Imagine. So, of course, what is different? Yeah, you're not going to pay higher interest, but I'm going to come for what belongs to you. Didn't we see? Let's just confirm about our port. As any Mombasa, we saw Kenya, Tanzania port was it Tanzania or Kenya? Let's see. Any Mombasa port being sold to private shareholders. Let's see. Okay, so no, the port of Mombasa has not been sold to the private shareholders. The government retains full ownership of the port, land, and core infrastructure through the Kenya port. Instead of an outright sale or permanent privatization, the government uses landlord port model and concession agreements. Under this agreement, private companies are given time-bound leases to manage or operate specific berths and terminal services, but ownership never transfers. Yeah, I'll just keep it at that for now.
That single case sent shock waves across Africa. Suddenly, the question was not whether African nations could repay their debts. It was what would happen when they could not.
Exactly.
Zambia became the test case. In November 2020, Zambia became the first African country to default on its international debt since the pandemic began. Chinese institutions held 40% of Zambia's external public debt. The copper mines that form the backbone of Zambia's economy were suddenly at risk. Research shows that Chinese companies began seeking fresh collateral in case of default. They set their sights on Zambia's copper mines, including facilities owned by major international companies. The pressure was intense. Chinese firms refused to restructure existing debts and instead demanded new guarantees. Zambia eventually canceled $1.6 billion in undisbursed Chinese loans. Construction on major projects simply stopped. The government halted work on a highway linking the capital to the Copperbelt province. Digital infrastructure projects were abandoned. The dream of Chinese-funded development became a nightmare of debt restructuring negotiations that dragged on for years. But Zambia is just one example. The pattern repeats across the continent. In Kenya, the standard gauge railway was supposed to transform the nation, a 480-kilometer line connecting the busy port of Mombasa to Nairobi.
Which there was a scandal where millions of money were paid to unknown source. Unknown source.
Part of an ambitious plan to link Kenya to Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and South Sudan.
It has never happened. Never. Where can I go to Mombasa to get to Tanzania? If we were supposed to go to Tanzania with a train, we should have done that long time ago. How many trips have we gone? And we're still using the goddamn road. Fake promises.
The cost was approximately $5 billion, financed almost entirely by Chinese loans. The reality fell far short of expectations. The railway was projected to move 22 million tons of cargo per year. Assessments later showed it could handle at most 8.7 million tons. 1 year after opening, it cost more than double to ship goods by train than by road. The government had to force importers to use the railway to make the numbers work. Today, Kenya spends more than $1 billion per year just to service its railway debt to China.
Imagine.
In 2025, payments to China accounted for more than 81% of Kenya's total foreign debt service.
Imagine.
The country now spends roughly 67% of its revenue on debt payments, well above the 30% threshold recommended by international institutions. One prominent Kenyan businessman called it one of the biggest cons ever seen. He described it as the beginning of a long fraud on Kenyans, the foundation for what he calls...
Yeah, that must be Jimmy Wanjigi. Yeah, that is the billionaire we have currently. That must be Jimmy Wanjigi, because I remember he talked about it. Jimmy, shout out to Jimmy.
The debt heist. Then there is Djibouti, a country the size of Vermont with a population of 1 million. But its location makes it one of the most strategically valuable places on Earth. Djibouti sits at the mouth of the Red Sea, controlling the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. More than a quarter of all global maritime trade passes through this narrow corridor. Whoever controls Djibouti controls a vital artery of the world economy. China understood this perfectly. Chinese institutions now hold over half of Djibouti's $2.6 billion in external debt. The country's debt to GDP ratio soared from 50% to 85% in just a few years, largely due to Chinese lending. The International Monetary Fund has declared Djibouti in debt distress. In late 2022, Djibouti suspended debt repayments to China after debt servicing costs tripled. China's response was not to forgive the debt, but to negotiate a moratorium that keeps Djibouti tied to Chinese financing for the foreseeable future. But here is the crucial part. In 2017, China opened its first overseas military base in Djibouti. The base sits just 6 miles from Camp Lemonnier, the only permanent American military base in Africa. Chinese naval vessels can now dock at facilities capable of receiving aircraft carriers and submarines. Chinese drones fly reconnaissance missions over one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. This is not just debt collection. This is geopolitical strategy. China has converted economic leverage into military positioning at a critical choke point of global trade. American officials are worried. One Pentagon analyst noted that there is nowhere else in the world where the American military is essentially co-located in close proximity to a country it considers a strategic competitor. The concern is that Djibouti, facing mounting debt and unable to pay, could be pressured to hand over control of American facilities to China, or at least to provide intelligence on American military movements. The fear that China deliberately extends loans to countries that cannot repay them in order to seize strategic assets is called debt trap diplomacy. It became a major talking point for American officials during the Trump administration. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo warned of Chinese corruption through predatory lending. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen accused China of creating a debt trap for poor African nations. China denies these accusations. Beijing argues that it is providing development finance that Western institutions refuse to offer. Chinese officials point out that they have forgiven interest-free loans and restructured debts when countries face difficulties. And to be fair, the evidence is complicated. Research from Johns Hopkins University examined claims that China was about to seize Kenya's Mombasa port as collateral for the railway loans. After 2 years of investigation...
Exactly. Didn't I just mention it? Didn't I just mention it? Sorry, I was doing something. Did I just mention it? Exactly. They're coming for that port because it's something that when we had privatization of so many companies, when Ruto became a president, that was one of the things. And I mentioned it slightly. And when I Googled, Google told me the same bullshit. No, the port of Mombasa has not been sold. So there is a possibility. Like Jiba just said, exactly. In the next, that port will be 100% out. Literally. It's coming.
The researchers concluded that the claim was wrong. The port was never collateral. The rumor stemmed from a misreading of contract documents by Kenya's own Auditor General. Similar claims about Zambia's airport and Uganda's Entebbe airport turned out to be unfounded. Researchers found that between 2000 and 2019, China restructured or refinanced about $15 billion in African debt without seizing a single asset. But here is what the defenders of Chinese lending often miss. You do not need to seize assets to exercise control. Debt itself is leverage. When a country cannot pay, it becomes dependent on the creditor's goodwill. It becomes reluctant to oppose the creditor in international forums. It becomes more willing to grant contracts, mining rights, and market access. China is now involved in infrastructure across Africa in ways that would have been unimaginable 2 decades ago. Chinese companies operate ports, railways, and telecommunications networks. Chinese workers live in African cities by the hundreds of thousands.
Yep. We have Chinese towns now in Kenya. Hello. Excuse me. Oh, okay, they might not have seized the port, but we have Chinese malls. Do you know how many Chinese malls we have today in Kenya? You don't even want to know. You don't even want to know. You don't even want to know. And they're coming with now different names. We have China Square, we have Pandamat, we have Miadak. We have a new one now called Miadak. And they're selling they're selling things cheap. I'm not even going to lie. I go shop there nowadays. The new one, it's in Rongai. I'm not going to lie. I do go there. I'm guilty. I go there. The shit is cheap. But I try imagine understanding all this. It should even be cheaper. For me, someone who's living in Kenya, because these things are coming from Africa. I should not have to go to a Chinese mall for me to feel like I'm safe to buy products. When I should easily go to my local shop or market or our very own malls and access the same product, but even at a cheaper price. Because all the materials, everything is coming from this continent. Where they beat us is we don't have industrial companies. Oh my God. By thousands, yes. We have Chinese malls, we have Chinese towns, we have Chinese restaurants. We have a whole Chinese restaurant that serves Chinese food. I see some people going there. They go eat Chinese food. I don't know what's interesting about Chinese food apart from the noodles. I don't know. Shit.
Chinese products flood African markets while African manufacturers struggle to compete. The trade deficit tells the story. In 2023, Africa's trade deficit with China reached approximately $64 billion. African nations export raw materials to China and import finished goods.
Exactly.
It is the same pattern that defined colonial economics. Extract resources, send them to the imperial center, buy back manufactured products at a premium. Some African leaders are starting to push back. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has called for more Chinese investment in manufacturing to help narrow the trade deficit.
Karibu sana.
Yeah, I know you're cooking. Let me just get a 5-minute save before you go crazy on me. Go crazy. First of all, China is making towns all throughout Africa, not just in Kenya. You got Chinatowns in Ghana, Nigeria, Zambia, Zimbabwe, of course in South Africa. It's been there. It's their strategy because they said the Africans are stupid, backward, and weak, and they're supposed to be. I think the damn Chinese are more racist even than white people. I've been said that. Chinese are more racist than even white people are racist. They're all racist. I think the Chinese are even more racist. I'll say that. Maybe even more. If there can be such a thing as even more racist, the Chinese are that. So they learn from the Europeans. Hey, the Europeans they took Africa, and Africa's where their real wealth came from. We need to get that wealth since we started getting their money because they made us the manufacturing hub. Remember, China was made the manufacturing hub. They didn't do it itself. It was given that by the West. So China said, well, damn, what really makes Europeans rich? Africa. That's why they pivot to Africa, because that's the wealth. Everybody's stealing and exploiting Africans because they see the Africans are backward, stupid, and over-religious. I sent you 2 videos, Joby. I want you to put on the show. I sent them to you. Because you are cooking good. You're doing. That's why I wasn't gonna come and even bother you. You did so good. But that's it's about respect and dignity. Chinese people hate black people. They don't respect us. They think we're backward, stupid, and supposed to be ruled. Their racism is deep. And I'm not gonna say white people racism. I think Chinese racism even deeper, even more dangerous, because they're more savage. I think they're more savage than even white people. I'm gonna keep it real to you. Right? They must be extracted from the guys. That's why Ibrahim's playing cat and mouse. He don't take none of their loans. He'll take some of their weapons and get the money and understand. Hey, he said, you're going to work with us. You're going to exchange some information. You see, China is not same way China stole the West technology. China's not sharing we just said in this video. China's not sharing that technology with the Africans. It's supposed to be exploited. So they know they're doing it on purpose. That's why to the Africans, you got to steal the technology. Same way China stole it from America. You got to steal it. You got to just take it when they set up factories. You steal it. That's what China did. They just stole, and they didn't care. They were unapologetic with this stealing. Well, you want to build your shit in our country. That's part of doing work with us. You want to exploit us because China was getting exploited. China said, well, you're going to exploit us. Well, that's the price of doing business. We're going to steal your technology. So that's what Ibrahim Traoré said. Hey, you come in, you're going to share technology. You're not going to be building the roads. We're going to build them. It's going to be jobs for us. So it's a scam. And China is exploiting. So these morons say, oh, it's a win-win. China's there to help. It's not. China made Kenya an old raggedy-ass train. Like Joby got it right. Her analogy was perfect. You come with an old phone, and since you ain't never seen a phone, you're like, yeah, look at the phone. You don't know the phone is 10 years old. The 10-year-old smartphone. To you, it's new. Exactly. And that's how they even do Africa with them old-ass Japanese cars. These cars be old as shit, and they charge all this money. Because everybody disrespects Africa. Because Africa hasn't taken back its dignity. You got cars 10 years old in Kenya. This is a new car, and they charge new car prices. It's insane. You wouldn't allow this in your country. This is illegal. But hey, it's the dumbass African. We're gonna do it. They'll never stop us. So we're gonna keep doing it. Like what? So China's not there to help any Africans. They hate us. They learn from the Europeans. They're more brutal. They're gonna steal your shit, keep you impoverished, because they haven't shared. They've been there 20 years down there, but they ain't shared no technology. They ain't built no factories for people to actually work. And when the stuff they do build, it's always cheaply done. It's exploitative. They don't pay African. The Chinese don't pay African shit.
Attention, not even attention.
That's what I'm trying to teach. What's her name? Who worked for us? Whatever her name is. Shit, I forgot. Katie. I said, go work for the Chinese. See what they do to your ass. See if they pay you what I pay you. You good luck with that. Indians won't pay you shit either. They hate you too. Because they want to they're there to exploit you. They say you're over religious, you're backward, and you're stupid. So we're going to do what the Europeans do, but we're going to try. The Chinese going to make sure that you never get out of it. So I said, we're going to keep these dumbass Africans so they keep feeding our. See, China doesn't have any resources, guys. So the only reason China can stay rich is off of Africa. It's exploitative. China don't have no oil. They don't have no gas. They don't have nothing. That's why they couldn't even feed themselves. I told you, Kenya was feeding China 30 years ago. Kenya was feeding China. That's not in none of the Kenyans' history books. Oh, these Chinese are so smart. Oh, China, China, China. And I don't blame Joey for doing something that's cheap, because that's how it's going to work, because they're going to come, since they got their manufacturing, they can build stuff cheaper than you, Joey. They can, because they got all the manufacturing. So they can, you can't compete with them because there's no manufacturing in Africa. And until you have like a strong, like an Ibn Toure to do it, you'll always be exploited, because you're going to be unapologetic with people, Joe. You're going to have to be authoritarian. You're not going to do this shit in my country. You're going to break your back. It's going to be war. You're going to have to be like that, because the Chinese, it's not just in Kenya they showed you disrespect, all throughout Africa. But the Chinese is open disrespect and hate. In your country, expect you to be slaves to them in your own countries. And it's not just Kenya. It's Ghana, Nigeria. They try to build restaurants where you can't come in. Say, nah, you niggas can't come in here in your own countries. Shout out to the Nigerians who burn that shit to the ground. And like I said, they want to own your ports. You know, the Chinese own the Jamaican port. They own, and the Chinese, Jamaica's gone. You guys don't know the subtle secret. Chinese own that shit. We got Chinese people on the time about Jamaica's not an African country. It's not a black country. Well, you got that Chinese lady saying that. And she meant every word of it. But I'm done, Joby. Share 2 videos I sent you.
Okay, let me finish this and share.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to share it.
The goal is to ensure that African nations do not simply remain suppliers of raw materials while China captures all the value added. But
exactly. You see what he's saying? Exactly. He's making sure that all your minerals that you ship to them, you're like Joby said, you stay on the low end. You make the $1 and do all the damn hard work and digging that shit up, and they make the back, because they got that from the Europeans. The value added, right? At the end, the phone is what makes all the money, not the shit that makes the phone. The phone. All the minerals that go in it, yeah, that's African. So what? You can dig and get sweaty and all that shit. I give you $1. At the end of the day, I'm the one putting it together, making the damn phone out of it. Go ahead, Jeff.
The infrastructure that China built is designed to export raw materials, not to support local production. The debt that hangs over African governments limits their ability to invest in their own people. Meanwhile, around 40% of low-income countries, many of them in Africa, are either in or approaching debt distress. The combination of COVID-related economic shocks, rising interest rates, and commodity price swings has made servicing Chinese loans increasingly difficult. Many African nations are spending more on debt payments than on healthcare or education. The Western response has been largely ineffective. The G20 created a common framework for debt restructuring, but
it's funny.
Slowly.
Chinese are free. They don't care about your education. So what you care? They want you dumb. Oh, they want you sick. You're dead. Because I want you guys to understand it too. This is more insidious. They learned this from the Europeans. The Chinese are trying to replace African people and steal the countries. I want to be openly honest with you. They're trying to replace your population. That's why they're moving in Africa in such big numbers. If Joby can show a video, they're coming to Kenya in the thousands, Ghana in the thousands, Nigeria in the thousands, Gambia, Gabon in the thousands, Zimbabwe, Zambia, they're coming in the fucking thousands. Go ahead, Joby.
Many of them Western banks and hedge funds hold significant African debt and have been reluctant to accept losses. China participates in restructuring talks, but insists that Western private creditors take equivalent cuts. The result is paralysis. Countries like Zambia spent years in debt restructuring negotiations while their economies stagnated and their people suffered. The international financial architecture that is supposed to help developing countries manage debt crises has proven woefully inadequate. And so the question becomes, what does Africa's future look like under these conditions? Some see opportunity. Chinese investment has genuinely improved infrastructure in many African nations. Roads are better. Ports are more efficient. Electricity reaches places that were dark.
They are better because, again, like I said, it's something we've never had. So that's why we think they are better, but they are shitty. These roads, they have been created without, like, look at, if I'm to use that, just the example of the picture is giving me. How do you create a road and on the side there's no water drainages? Huh? So when it floods or when it rains, this water is all going to congest just right there in this environment. There's no water drainages here. We just had the expressway road, which is the most expensive, I think, road project we've had over the few years. And we've seen, this is going back, the money is going back to the Kenyattas. That is one of the shittiest roads. Again, when it floods, the people who are actually driving beneath, the people using the expressway road, suffer the most. Water pouring all the way. There's no, what do you mean? It's only better because that's what we know. Go to other countries. This is why they have denied us also exposure, visa, all this visa bullshit, passport bullshit, because when you don't have exposure, how do you know you deserve better? You've seen many other Africans, Nigerians, Kenyans telling you, you know, when I came here, I stopped praying because everything I've been praying for is all available here. You know, but listen to us. We have a crusade outside right now. We have a crusade right now outside from 2. Who puts a crusade in this hot ass weather right now? Busy praying for bullshit instead of being there asking for accountability and development of your country. It's crazy, man. Exposure is something very important. That's why they don't want us to travel. To see how other countries have improved, how they are far ahead of us and what we claim to be having here. And you have Ruto telling you, we are going to make this country a Singapore. With what? With what? Debts? This kind of debts. And we have idiots defending him taking loans. It's crazy.
For decades, these are real benefits that have improved lives. But the costs are mounting. Debt levels that were manageable a decade ago now threaten economic stability. Strategic assets from ports to mines to telecommunications, networks are increasingly tied to Chinese interests. Political space for African governments to chart independent courses is shrinking as Chinese influence grows. The European colonizers justified their exploitation with the language of civilization and progress. China justifies its lending with the language of development and mutual benefit. But the underlying dynamic is troublingly similar. Resources flow out, debt flows in, power shifts from Africa to elsewhere. The difference is that this time, the chains are made of paperwork. The bondage is written in loan agreements that African citizens are not allowed to see. The extraction happens through interest payments and trade deficits rather than through direct theft. But the result may be the same. A continent rich in resources remains poor. A continent with enormous potential remains dependent. A continent that fought for independence finds itself bound by obligations.
And remember, exactly, remember, it's still all the same fake fucking paper. China's yuan is not backed by nothing. It's fake paper giving these goofy ass niggas. Shout out to even Teray said that. Your resources are being stolen by fake paper with a Chinese man on it. Paper, worthless shit. Worthless paper. As China said, oh yeah, we're gonna put our stuff on gold. China don't have no gold. That's Africans' gold that they've been stealing from your stupid ass and digging it up. Because they know their currency is about to collapse too. Because it's another fake paper scam backed by nothing. But so they're gonna use you goofy niggas since they mining your country, get your gold, and they're gonna back their yuan, their fake paper with gold, with your gold. Because there's no gold in China. So it's a more fake paper scam they gave your stupid ass. While you gave them real shit. And this is absolutely, it's like you niggas never learned shit. How am I buying all your shit up with paper? That's fucking worthless. With some Chinese moron on the picture of it. They use the same fake paper because their currency's going under too, because it's fake. European gave them the same fake scam and talked them the same fake scam. Remember, they're poor. Europe exploited China. They're stupid too. See, these morons are dumb. So they say, oh, we can't be exploited. Let's got to get ourselves together. But they got the same paper scam going. But they're smart enough to know, hey, let's get this gold from these dumb niggas because our currency is going to collapse. You can look this up. China currency is about to collapse too. But they got the gold from the goofy niggas to back it up. So it won't completely collapse. And you see, who's the #1 holder of gold in the world right now? China. There ain't no gold in China. So where they getting it from? They getting it from them Kenyan mines, them Ghanaian mines, the Congolese mines, from stupid ass Africans again. Give you a fucking bunch of goofy paper while they steal your real resources, your ports, your make fucked up old ass trains from the 1960s. Because like Joey said, you're too stupid. You'll notice some old ass nice old ass shit. Like Joey said, you won't find that old ass train in China. Nowhere. They got new updated trains that's going goddamn about 400 miles an hour. You got some old shit from the night before me and any of you guys were even born. That old ass gauge shit. That's what they did. So they're not your friends. How some racist ass rice eating motherfuckers gonna be your friend? They racist as hell. They can't stand our black asses. That's been their history forever. Never been no unity with no Asians ever. Hate to tell you real history. There been no unity with them ever. Throughout history. That's why you got to be taught real history in school. You got to know who are your friends, who's not. You got to know how currencies actually work. You got to know what fake paper is. You got to have real education. That's why they able to steal and exploit Africa, because Africans don't know shit. Like Joey said, you got morons 2 o'clock in the afternoon praying a fake cracker in a dirty robe. Why they're getting exploited. Shit's crazy. Go ahead, Joey.
This is how you build an empire in the 21st century.
Exactly. How you build an empire for them.
With loans,
exactly.
With contracts, with debt that can never be fully repaid. China understood this before anyone else. And by the time Africa figured it out, the papers were already signed. $170 billion, 49 countries, over 1,300 loan agreements, and counting. The new debt empire is already here. The only question now is what happens next.
War.
So that is
when the Europeans come.
What happens next? War. War happens next. War. See, the only thing gonna save, and I'm gonna tell you, the only thing gonna save you, and let me say this real quick, the only thing gonna save you goofy niggas, your ignorance, your youth, thank God your youth, you African morons have destroyed the continent over and over again. With your goofy religious nonsense. But let me tell you, since you lucky that the only thing is China's dying. So when the war happens, it won't be enough for these Chinese bastards to fight the war against Africa. Africa's gonna wipe their ass out. Because they're gonna be on the continent. There's gonna be a bunch of them on the continent. They're gonna get wiped out. That war's coming. You know why the war is gonna come? Because there's disrespect and disdain for African people. They openly hate. They're in a continent where they openly hate the people and thought they were gonna go there to replace them. But all the joke's gonna be on them. Because African women are gonna still have all these babies, while the Chinese don't have any babies. And the disrespect is going to become unpalatable to Gen Alpha and the next ones after Alpha, and they're going to wipe them out. I'm going to tell you what's coming. Go ahead, Joby.
Why religious people are less intelligent.
Now listen what this man said. Probably about to about less intelligent, and they can't critically think. So this study's been done over 90 years about religious morons. Everybody knows most religious people are stupid. That's why they made African people religious and got rid of the stuff that Joby showed you yesterday with the spirituality. What made you intelligent? Because this spirituality means you're intelligent as hell. You understand how the universe actually works. You're giving dumbass religion, now you're a moron. And that was on purpose. So when you're talking to a religious person, a lot of times you're looking for change them because they're stupid. They're dumb. And this is a fact. This is pure review science. Religious people are stupid. That's why Joby Daddy was a moron getting up. He's an idiot. They're idiots. And that's been tested and proven. But I knew they were stupid. So go ahead.
Reason for that. In 2013, psychologist Myron Zuckerman at the University of Rochester ran one of the largest studies ever conducted on the relationship between intelligence and religious belief. He analyzed decades of research across multiple countries, and what he found is wild. Religious people scored lower on tests that measured their intelligence than non-religious people. Zuckerman updated the analysis in 2020. 83 studies spanning over 90 years of research, all pointing in the same direction. religious people are less intelligent. The evidence is concrete. So now the question is, why? Zuckerman identified 3 reasons religious people are less intelligent. The first reason is conformity. Religion requires you to accept a fixed set of beliefs. Smart people push back on that. Smart people don't accept because I said so as an answer. Religion has God saying because I said so a lot. Religious people are trained from birth to obey authority without asking questions. Smart people ask a lot of questions. Authoritarian people don't like questions. Religious people grow up and obey Trump without asking questions. Same muscle, same obedience, different costume. The second reason is analytical thinking. Religion runs on gut feeling, intuition, and blind faith. No proof, no facts, just believe. Just believe stories from 2,000 years ago. Analytical thinking directly undermines religious beliefs. We want proof. We want evidence. We like facts. We like repeatable tests. Religion does not give you any of that. Zuckerman found that the more you think analytically, the less likely you are to believe in something that cannot be tested. That is why the least educated counties in America are the most religious and the most Republican. Go figure. The third reason is everything religion gives you, being smart also gives you. Religion helps you cope with the fear of death. Intelligence reduces the fear on its own. Religion tells you how to behave and gives you a set of rules to follow from a 2,000-year-old book. You have to follow, or else. Someone who is smart has their own moral compass, their own sense of right and wrong. You don't need to borrow your morals from a book when you're smart, empathetic, and have your own internal moral compass. Religion makes you feel worthy and significant. When you're smart, you don't need an invisible friend for grown-ups to feel significant. Your accomplishments help you do that. For people with lower intelligence, religion fills a hole. For people with higher intelligence, the hole was never there. Religion is not a belief system for smart people. Religion is a coping mechanism for people who are not smart enough to cope on their own. The data on this is not even close. The less intelligent you are, the more likely you are to be religious. The more religious you are, the more likely you are to follow a man who lies to you every single day and you call it faith. Stupid people need to be told what to think, and religion has been training them to be obedient their entire lives.
So let me share the second one.
Oh, there used to be a time we'd see somebody like you singing, clowning, yassabossing.
It has like low volume though.
And we wouldn't do anything. Folks like that. You were good. Homie.
See if you can turn up, Joe. That's a low. No, start again, Joe. So this is where you African puppets. They're the Yassa Boston is over. It used to be a time for you Yassa Boston ass niggas.
It has like a really low volume.
Okay. So the black. Okay, pause. Let me say this. This is for you African coon. The black race can't afford you guys no more. They showed Officer Tatum who got caught with the Nolan Wells thing. You're done, dude. What they got on you, you're done, you coon. But the African race can't afford you coons no more. Right? So he's telling you, the Yassa Boston, we can't afford you no more. You got to put a bullet in your head. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, but I'll share that one on the WhatsApp for you guys to listen to it. But that has been
go ahead, let me hear the whole thing. Go ahead, Joe. Let me hear the whole thing.
We'd see somebody like you singing, clowning, yassabossing, and we wouldn't do anything. Folks like that. You were good. Homie kind of nigga. When they needed somebody to mistreat, call them.
Somebody mistreat.
We paraded you.
We get you.
Reminded them of the good old days.
Good old days. The niggas being stupid. Somebody mistreat, they bring you out. Not no more. They had to get you done, boy. Done, boy. We're gonna put a bullet in your head, nigga, and throw you in a ditch.
Somebody like you.
You, Yassa Boston.
Yeah.
That's why I remember Uncle Joby said that in the show today. Yassa Boston. Yeah, they're the Yassa Boston Negro. We're getting rid of you, Negro.
That has been my time this morning. Thank you so much for joining me. That has been my conversation. I see. Jabba, thank you for joining. Says deeper than Zambezi River. You're talking about the corruption. You're saying the corruption is deeper than the Zambezi River. That's funny. And says every time I see that weak Tinubu, I just get angry. the guy just lowers my vibration. Me too, man. Is just you can tolerate watching and looking at someone like that. I tell you. Says Museveni general sons demanded that Jay-Z give him Beyonce. Yeah, I talked about that. That was last month. I remember I mentioned it. And then also CG Bajaba says next the port will be exactly like I said. Says Chinese would tour US factories and photograph everything. Japanese too. Then go back home and engineer technology. That's what we should do. But our people are busy going there for bleaching creams, other bullshit. No, not any type of reversible technology. It's crazy. Bleaching creams. What? Are you kidding me? It's crazy.
Yeah, because you got some morons supposed to be a general of a country. Talk about give me Beyonce. You can't take you seriously. What are you talking about, morons?
So yes, much love, family. I wish you a beautiful rest part of your morning. We'll be coming back in a few with the Tubonge show. So kindly ensure you tune in and see what we're gonna be talking about. But yes, thank you so much for tuning in this morning. For those who catch this show on all our platforms, hope you guys get to enjoy, learn something, and let us know maybe a few points you need to add on what Africa needs to do to industrialize itself, because that's where our big problem is.
You got to take back. You got to take. Africans are gonna have to be unapologetically bold. No more cowards. Africans are cowards. The cowards out there, Ibn Toure. So have you guys seen Ibn Toure? He's making sure he's out there. I want you to show the video. I guess we showed a video tonight. He's got every Burkina Faso kid with guns, with weapons, learning blindfold. Same way we did in the Marine Corps. Teach them how to put together the gun, take it apart, blind. When you get so good, you know how to do it blindfolded. That's military. You understand that? So you can clean that weapon. So, because he knows the white people are coming. All the terrorists it's been all exposed. We already know the terrorists are. It's the white people want to steal the resources. That's why Burkina Faso and them are always under threat. Mali, all the terrorists keep coming, because these are the ones that are not giving them shit to China. Remember, the Niger kicked out the Chinese. Said, get your ass out of here. It's Niger, right? Abdurrahman Rani, the general there, said, get your ass out of here. It's your exploitation. You think you'll come in because we got rid of white man, you coming in? So Niger kicked out these Chinese too. Get your fucking ass. You can't treat our people with respect, because it was the same thing, disrespect. You can't treat our people with respect and kindness while you trying to make money from us. You got to get the fuck up out of here. See, that's what you don't have to have. That's what Mali's doing. Niger and Burkina Faso bring back African people's dignity. You're smiling in people's. It ain't anybody. All these coon ass Negroes from fucking Ruto and the rest of them. They didn't say nothing. And Tinubu on the border with his old retarded ass. They know now that it's the white people with these terrorists coming into the country and trying to destabilize. They know it. It's undeniable now. Because Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali have already showed you unequivocally who's doing it. But you see any of these niggas come to their help? Come to their defense? Why would Kenya be signing a thing with France? We know France is part of terrorism that's trying to kill African people. Because remember, these niggas are all puppets. They're all puppets. That's to keep Africa destabilized, keep them divided and conquered, so the stealing can continue. You hear none of these people from, you didn't hear, where's John Mahama, punk ass? Well, he's over in Jamaica. He's in Jamaica trying to say, oh, yes, Jamaicans, we're all family and all that old dumb shit. He's at the parliament in Jamaica with his goofy ass. But he's not talking about helping the Sahel with the terrorists, because he's a puppet. All these puppet shows you keep seeing. John Mahama, he's all in Jamaica. Hey, we're all brothers. You came from this part of Africa. I'm a slave. Shut up with that shit. No one cares.
Bombo clat, Keith. Thank you. Much love, family. Have yourselves a beautiful morning. And on the Tubonge show, and of course later tonight on the Africa Today show. Sorry, yesterday our lights went out, literally just on our building, just the studio building.
That's all right. Oh, that was the studio. Okay, okay, your lights are home. We're good at home. Okay, I finished the show myself. I went 3 hours. Shit.
Yeah, but much love, family. Have yourselves a beautiful, beautiful rest part of your morning. And for those who will be catching this show again, enjoy, and ensure you also download our app on the Google Play Store. We are available in case you are an iPhone or using your laptop user. You can stream with us on our website, www.blackoutfirenetwork.com. Remember to also support us with whatever you have, $2, $10, $20, $50, $100. We appreciate you so much. And peace, and we're out.
That's what's up. Peace. Get your ass out of here.